Okay, I was just about to leave this little restaurant inside the hotel after lunch, and I ran into a young lady with a dog and a scooter, and had to come over and talk. And you're here for CPAC. What's your name again?
I am. My name is Melissa Ortiz, and I am the founder of Albe Americans.
And tell me what Albe Americans are.
Albe Americans is kind of my answer to ADAPT and other militant disability groups to talk about disability issues from a common sense, right of center perspective, where I have a dog that's trying to leave me.
Well, she's right aside of me over here.
Okay, that she came to see. Annie Oakley is my seizure alert dog, and she likes to travel.
So I take it you have an issue with seizures?
I do. I have spina bifida, and I use either a wheelchair or a scooter. And in the conservative movement, we haven't talked about disability issues a lot. And so I founded Albe Americans so that we could really start that conversation.
I think the only real conversation is on the pro-life idea that, that life is of value, but it hasn't been a big issue. What kind of disability issues are conservative issues that you think need to be discussed?
Limited government, helping people with disabilities find their place in society. Instead of writing them a check every month, help them find their place and be gainfully employed contributors to society. We need to be talking about physician-assisted suicide and why it's dangerous for people with disabilities. In fact, I'm on a panel on the 27th at the Heritage Foundation talking about exactly that.
And it's the idea that a person is not of value unless it reaches a certain point. And I think that's become a real thing with our friends on the left. And I think it's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And every single life has value. When I was born, they were afraid my mother was going to die before I could ever be born. And they tried to get her to consider terminating the pregnancy for health reasons because she was so sick, and they didn't think that I was viable. And here I am 50 years later, the voice in the corner being quite loud.
All right, now because you're here for CPAC, there's a couple of questions I do have to ask you. I've been asking everybody who's here for CPAC. Who did you support in the primary? I was a Cruz person myself.
So was I.
All right, I've run into so many Cruz people here. When did you decide to change over to Trump? Was it after Cruz pulled out? Was it after the convention? Before the convention?
I was on my way to that decision by convention time, but Ted Cruz saying that he was going to support and vote for Donald Trump is what finally made up my mind, because I actually know Senator Cruz to be a man of integrity.
I've interviewed him several times. I think he's awesome. I actually
worked on the campaign.
He was the person I had endorsed originally, and I still hold him in incredible regard.
Yes, and when he decided that he would support Donald Trump with his vote, I decided that that's what I needed to do, because I was determined to do everything I needed to do to keep Hillary Rodham Clinton from being president.
Now, what do you think of month one? Have you liked what you've seen?
Yeah, he's shaking things up. He's making people nervous because he's thrown out the playbook. He's thrown out the rule book, and he's kind of doing things that he thinks need to be done. There have been a few things that have made me a little nervous, but everybody has hiccups along the way.
All right, and if people want to find out more about your organization and what you do, where should they go online?
able-americans.org.
able-americans.org. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your lunch, and I'll see you again here at CPAC.
Perfect. Thanks.